Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to be talking about mixed numbers and representing those mixed numbers on a number line. So our learning target is I can represent mixed numbers on a number line, and you'll know you've done this when you found how many wholes are represented and what fraction is represented. So let's go back and revisit. What is a mixed number? A mixed number has a whole number part and a fractional part attached to it. So it's got some holes. It might be 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes, 10 holes. You don't know. Some whole portion and then a fractional part also. So how do you know how many holes and how do you know what fraction is being represented? So first of all, you have to ask yourself on the number line, how many whole numbers are shown? And then you have to ask yourself, how many spaces make up one whole? And then you ask yourself, how many spaces are represented after the holes? And I'm going to show you some examples of this. So first, there's nothing represented here right now. Right now, this is just a number line. Let's look at the whole numbers being represented on this number line. We have the whole number 1, the whole number 2, the whole number 3, the whole number 4, and the whole number 5. The big numbers are the whole numbers, and you can see that the lines are drawn just a little bit larger for those. They represent the whole. Okay? So in between each of the holes, so in between 0 and 1, it's cut up. In between 1 and 2, it's cut up. In between 2 and 3, and 3 and 4, and again at 4 and 5, it's cut up. So our job is to figure out a few different things. The first thing is to figure out how many holes are going to be represented. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to make a little dot. I'm going to make the dot right here. Okay, so you can see that blue dot right here. Okay. And that's the part where I'm going to ask myself what mixed number is being represented. Well, the first question, if I go back to my last slide, the first question is how many holes are being represented. So this is saying how much space has been taken up to this point. Okay, so it's talking about from 0 to here, this whole portion of the number line. What mixed number does that represent? Well, we know it represents, it goes past the 1 hole mark. So I know I can represent this portion of the number line by writing a 1. Okay. It didn't make it to the 2, it didn't make it to the 3, it didn't make it to the 4 or the 5. It's only 1 and a little extra. Okay, so then you have to ask yourself, well, how much extra? The 1 hole represents this whole portion of the number line. So the only thing we need to figure out is how much is this? Okay, and figuring out how much this portion is means figuring out how many spaces there are in 1 hole and how many are being represented. So let's count the spaces together in 1 hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 spaces in 1 hole. Okay, so I know my denominator is going to be a 10. And how many of those spaces are being represented? 1, 2, 3. So I know my numerator is a 3. So on this number line, this blue dot is representing 1 hole and 3/10. So let's do another one. I'm going to make a new dot and we're going to practice it again. Now I don't have to recount my spaces because I know that there are going to be 10 spaces here. So I'm going to make a red dot right here. So my question is, how many holes are being represented? Well, it's more than 1 hole. It's more than 2 holes. It's not all the way to 3 holes yet. So I know that this part of the number line is being represented by the number 2. So I can write 2 holes. And then I have to ask myself, how many spaces are being represented after my hole? So I know how many total spaces there are here in 1 hole because we already counted those from the last number, and that's going to be 10. And how many spaces after my whole number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 and 6/10. This number represents 2 holes and 6/10. So we're going to do one more on this number line, and then I'm going to show you another one, and we're going to represent each of those values together. Okay, so we'll do a pink dot here all the way down here. So this represents how many holes? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, not all the way to 5, but we did get all the way to 4. So 4 holes. We know that the amount of spaces here, the total number of spaces in one hole isn't going to change. It's 10. It's not always going to be 10, but always on this number line, it's going to be 10. And then the spaces after my whole number, 1, 2, 3. So this is 4 holes and 3 tenths. So let's look at a new number line and see if we can use our strategy of figuring out how many holes we have represented and what our fractional part that's represented. See if we can figure out what each of these is going to represent. So I have a B, A, C, and D, and we're going to start with A. Okay, now when I look at A, I notice that it's past 1, but not all the way to 2. So I know that, that this right here is going to be 1 whole and some fractional part. So 1 whole, and then I'm going to see how many spaces are in 1 whole. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 spaces. And how many spaces after my whole? 1. So this A represents 1 whole and 1/4. Let's go to C. Okay, so C is past 1, past 2, past 3, but not past 4. So I know C represents 3 holes. Again, let's count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 total spaces in 1 hole. And how many of those are counted? 1, 2, 3. So 3. Oops, Mrs. Rinker did not do a great job writing that number. That's a 3. 3/4. So let's do D, and I'm going to change colors here. Let's go blue. It's past 1, past 2, past 3, past 4, but not past 5. So D is 4 holes, and that takes care of this whole portion of the number line, all 4 of these. And then how many spaces? 1, 2, 3, 4 total spaces in 1 hole. And how many of those are counted? 1, 2. So this is 4 2/4. Let's go back over here to B, because B is the toughie here. How many holes are represented? It didn't even make it to 1 hole. So in this letter B, there is no whole number represented because it's less than 1. Okay, so I'm not going to have a whole number like here and here and here. This is not a mixed number. This is solely just like we did before, where we count the total number of spaces where we know that's 4. And then we count how many spaces we jump. 1, 2. So B would just be 2/4. This is 4 2/4. See, because it includes all of those all these holes before that, and then 2/4. This is just 2/4 and no holes. All right, so when you're looking at number lines, you have to ask yourself those questions. How many holes are being represented? How many total spaces make up 1 hole? And how many spaces are represented after the hole? So let's do 1 more together. Okay. Oops. Okay. Actually, we're not going to do 1 more together. We're just going to revisit our learning target, and our learning target is I can represent mixed numbers on a number line, and you'll know you have found how many holes are represented and what fraction is represented. You'll know you're successful at that when you do those things.